Hi guys, today I winterized my bike, and instead of doing the conventional fill up the gas tank fully and put in a stabilizer, instead what I did is just empty the gas tank entirely. And so it's a bit unconventional, but this is according to the manual that came with the bike. And what it mentions is the storage. So the storage here on the very first page, I don't know whether you can read this or not. Maybe not. Okay. Maybe just read it to you then. So it says run the engine for about 5 minutes to warm the oil, shut it off and drain the engine oil. Now put in fresh engine oil and empty the fuel from the fuel tank by pump or siphon. So it's pretty much empty the fuel system by running the engine at idle speed until the engine stalls, and then reduce the tire pressure and so on. So all of that, I said, okay, you know what, since that's what the manual is saying, this is what I'm going to do. So what can we say? So what I did is just I recorded the complete procedure of storing the bike, and enjoy. Hi guys, this is my Kawasaki Ninja 650, and it's a 2015 model, and I'm going to winterize it. So first of all, I'll have to take off the fuel so that the tank can be emptied, and this is what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I have started the bike so that I can empty the tank, whatever is remaining inside. So I have already removed some of the fuel inside from the tank, and I'll let it run. And as you can see, the tank is pretty much empty. I can show it to you. Hold on. So at this point you can see that the tank is almost empty and it's flashing. Zoom it a little bit in so you can see the flasher. So I will let the engine run until it completely stops, and then I'm going to replace the engine oil. Alright guys, I have pretty much drained the fuel, but my next door neighbor, he tells me, on smaller engine you don't need to flush out all the fuel, because if you are using premium it should be okay. So let me go on his words. I believe him, and this is a pretty much new bike. And so next what I'm going to do is drain out the oil, because now the engine is warmed up pretty good. And all I have to do, if you can take a look here, there is a here where my finger right now, I hope you can see it, there's the drainage plug. So I'll unscrew it, and I have already stationed the tub underneath so that the oil can go into it, as you can see here. And let me put some light here. Okay, and this is pretty much, I just have to open up that plug in order to drain the engine oil and then replace it with fresh new one. So let's try that. Okay, so I have loosened the plug a little bit, and all I need to do is now unscrew it and let the oil drain out of it. It's pretty hot right now because I started the engine for quite some time to let the engine heat up, and now the whole screw is kind of heated up, and at the same time, ooh, my goodness, that's a bit hot. But as you can see, is pretty much clean, and but for winterizing, what we have to do, we have to drain it in order to replace it with a new one. And so far looking good. You know what I did is I let the net drop inside, and I'll have to fish it out later on, which will be a bit more difficult for me to do now, but it was so hot and I had to do it. Anyways, little mishaps happen, no problem. So let the oil drain out. Okay guys, I've pretty much tightened the nut for the drainage, and it should be fine now. And one thing that I was looking at is, you don't need to remove the entire fairing to do that. All that you can do is just remove this little nut here, and that should do it. So this way you can get a good grip on this nut in order to loosen or tighten it. And all that it needs, so this is how it looks like, right? Very small screw that you can tighten in. And all that it needs, but be careful, this is hot here still, and just tighten it with your fingers first before you do anything else. Right now I'm just using my bare fingers because it's not, I'm not looking at anything toxic at this moment. And so let me use the same screwdriver I used before. And yeah, there we go. Here it is. Also keep a light on the subject. That's kind of difficult. Making a video as well as doing this is kind of an extra chore you have to do. But anyways, just for educational purposes, I think it's a good thing to have. So we tighten this. Ooh. Okay, next what we need to do is we need to put this dirty oil into this can here. This is one of the older cans which I used. It has just a little bit oil left in it, but that should be fine. So I'm going to pour in the dirty oil inside this funnel into the can, and this is kind of important because you want to discard this to Canadian Tire or somewhere, where they can recycle it, get it disposed of in a safety way. And yeah, so this is one of the more difficult things to do. It's not easy to get this into, and right now we can see that this, yeah, has pretty much cooled down. And so I'm going to try and put it inside this thing without having to spill it over. So it's always good to have a lot of newspaper or whatever you can find underneath, so that just in case if there's a slip and fall, so you don't ruin your garage floor, because otherwise you will be looking at cleaning it. It will be much more difficult to do. Alright, so I have removed the filler cap and also installed, there we go. Okay. Hi guys. Okay, so I've also removed the filler cap here, and this is the funnel, and this is the oil that, and because it's slight at an angle, so we have to be very, very careful in this case, and we have to make sure that it does not get spilled. And so I'll have to hold it with my left hand and fill this with my right hand as such. And it looks to me it's not going to be an easy task to do. It will be a bit more on the difficult side. And here is the filler window, so you can see from here, once it reaches the middle level, that's where we stop. So not the entire 4 liter will go in here, so it will be like probably 3 point something, and then we can stop there. Okay, so let's just continue. Ooh. Alright guys, it looks like we have pretty much filled it all the way between the upper and the lower mark, and it's actually at the upper mark. Right now you should be able to see maybe just a little bit, but I'll have to focus, and it's important that we put the filler cap back on, and the job is pretty much done. And also, you know, this one I have probably about 1 liter to less than 1 liter left in here, which is okay because I know that these are not going to take a full 4 liter, and instead it's going to be 3 point something, and the oil seems to have settled pretty well, and also the bike has to be in a horizontal position, which I think at this point in time it is, and we are all good. Now the only thing that I need to do is I'm going to roll this up with some plastic so that moisture cannot go into the exhaust here. And what else can I do? Oh yeah, and just maybe lubricate the chain. So that would be the only thing left, I guess, and then you can pretty much store it this way. All right. Hey guys, I'm actually nearing towards the final steps, and so what we have over here is I've just removed the passenger seat and also the driver's seat, which is fairly simple. All that you have to do is just open up with your key the compartment, and everything will come loose by itself, so you don't have to do much. And what needs to be done is I have to remove this battery, because that's one important step. You can't leave it in the garage for that long, and all that you have to do is remove pretty much these 2 screws, the positive and the negative terminal, and then also remove the bracket that's holding it. So let me try and do that, and I'm going to put off the camera for now, and once I've done, I'll let you guys know how I did it. So yeah, looks like I don't have too much recording time left, and so I have to do it in steps. But anyways, it usually in the manual, this is the manual for my Ninja 650 ABS, and so it tells you how to do it, and it shouldn't be much of a difficult thing. I mean, the most difficult part was pretty much draining the oil and then putting in the new in and so on, and that was the more difficult part to do. But apart from that, you know, this shouldn't be such a difficult thing. So let's see. All right. Alright guys, so the battery is out of the compartment, and according to the manual, charge it every 1 month or so, which I'll keep doing and keep it at room temperature and not in the garage, because otherwise, you know, there might be some problem with it, and I'll have to buy a good battery charger, and it was fairly easy to get out. So all I had to do is just remove this is the bracket, and I'm going to put it back in, but I'm not going to screw it too tightly. It's just going to be lightly held, because once in the springtime I'll have to put it back in, and at that point in time we don't want to be, you know, trying to open up nuts and bolts at that point in time. And So looking good so far. I had an older Kawasaki Ninja, and that was, I think, 2003 model. Yes, that was a fairly old bike. Lasted me quite good, but it started to give me problems during the springtime, and it wouldn't start. Cost me nearly $200 to get it started. So I hope this is a fairly new bike, and I shouldn't be having much of an issue starting this one. And yeah, otherwise it's I hope it will be a breeze. You know what I will do? I will also do another video once I get this. I can do another video in springtime where I will start it off and then see what happens. And right now I think here we are pretty much done. And get these two screws on top of the battery so you don't lose them. You can use them again. So this one and that one. Those are the two that connect the two terminals together. This is a fairly heavy battery, and so yeah, we want to keep it charged up during the winter months, and I think everything looks good. So, alright, we are done. So I'll just put back the seats, and that's all. Alright.